Hey guys, it's Mike with another Guild of Guardians video. We're doing Building Blocks Day 3. We're on the free-to-play account. We're going to try something a little bit new today. We're actually going to throw in Andronica instead of Xol. So we're going to forego damage and do a little more healing, and then we're going to take her out and probably put in Herc with our 2 tickets today and see which one of those plays better. And then watching them play, maybe one of them might replace either Yalmar or Tok'tun, and we bring Xol back in, potentially. But I figured today will be kind of a research day, so I figured I'd share it with you as we go. I did put Tok'tun in our best gear just because his level wasn't quite as high as Yalmar's. So Yalmar's in our second best set of gear, although it does match him, and then Tok'tun's matched him, so it kind of worked out anyway. And then we have Ferulia. We did get her into a tier 5 piece all the way across the board. These ones are epic, so we're just doing the tier 5 stuff on the free-to-play account, although we're a couple days behind on the free-to-play, so spoiler alert, we're going to get tier 5. I think that video might have launched today, but anyway, if it didn't, then spoilers. But we'll go ahead and get moving on this. Andronica, we got her into a T5 weapon. We're going to slowly get all their gear over to T5, even if it is only epic. I think that will give us the best chance moving forward so that we can put up the highest number we can by the 15th, which is the end of the event, which is about 2 days from when this video launches. So let's take a peek at Andronica's kit. Her first and ultimate ability is the self-sacrifice. She transforms 24% of her current HP, healing the weakest ally for 350% of that amount. The target's attack is also increased by 20% of Andronica's attack. So if you build her with attack, this could be really good, but theoretically she's going to be healing, I would say majority of the time is going to be your tank. So you don't really necessarily need the attack stack on your tank. You'd want that on your damage dealer Batu in the back. But in the off chance she is healing him, that would be a really cool thing for him to get an extra 20% of her attack. But as far as her HP, she's going to do a pretty big heal, but she is going to take HP away from herself, I think. So that may be good or bad, I'm not sure. So we'll see how that plays out. On her passive blood control, while she's alive, all allies have 10% lifesteal, and it's actually 30% when you level her up. So I think this is probably the part of her kit I'm most excited about. So basically every time our players are doing damage, they are healing themselves up 30% of the damage they're delivering, which should help keep them topped off and take a little bit of pressure off of Ferulia and her heals. So we're going to jump in here and give this team a shot and see how we go. We've beat Novice. We're all the way up to Expert. We opened Master, but I think we're going to farm on Expert. Especially this score, the 38,000, came from Expert. We did not get to room 23, so I think we died in room 23. So we're going to give this composition a go. Both of our tanks are going up front. We're going to go Batu, Ferulia, and Andronica in the back. They are a little bit less leveled up, and that's just because they're in the back, so hopefully taking a little less damage. We did want to keep Batu leveled up because he is a damage dealer, so we want to make sure he's hitting as hard as we can. So I wanted to bring you back in here. Ferulia and Andronica together are really a pretty effective pair. With Andronica doing the heal where she transforms 24 of her current HP to the lowest HP ally, she actually removes that HP from herself. So often Ferulia will come back and fill her up, but between the two of them, they do a lot of healing. Power and damage is definitely kind of even keel across the board. I am curious to see when we get into higher levels if we miss Xol's damage that he was doing. But so far this has been a pretty effective combination, and that lifesteal she provides with her passive is very, very good at helping keep everybody topped off. So so far I think it's a pretty good combination, but we'll see if it actually presses on further than room 23, because that'll basically be the benchmark, and then we can try some other things. So we're only in room 13 right now, but we can see Andronica, she took 24% of her health and gave it to somebody. So when she gets her ability going, we'll take a peek. Ferulia's probably, I'm not sure who's low, but she's going to top somebody off. And all these little ticks of health are going to be from the lifesteal that Andronica provides. And then we're probably going to kill this room before Andronica gets an ability. But when the next room will get the ability, we'll see that she goes ahead and gives 24% of her health away. I feel like it'd be better if she just healed him for that much as opposed to taking it off of her. But she seems to recoup it pretty quickly. So I think that's from the lifesteal ability. But it surprised me. She is a support character, but she behaves a little more like a warrior where she actually runs into battle. I think she might be a little more effective staying in the back row and taking a little less damage. But we're going to hopefully see her ability here popping up. So yeah, so right after Tokton does his ability. So she's doing her ability. She's going to heal somebody. And you saw her health right there just tick down. So she healed somebody. She also, with that heal, she's going to increase their... Oh, we lost her. With that heal, she's also going to increase their attack power of 20% of her attack. So you could build her focused on HP to make her healing a little better. Or you could focus her on attack so that she's increasing the attack of whoever she sends her health to. Which either way, I would say realistically, because she's running into battle, I would aim on the side of HP just to make her a little more durable. So we're going to throw her behind Tokton. Hopefully that changes things up enough that she doesn't die. And then we'll press on and see if we can get further into the battle than room 23. Well, further than this room. Let's start there. And then hopefully on to room 23. Alright, we are on to room 20 here. We did lose Tokton in the last boss fight. The one thing I am going to say about Andronica, I think the waves, she does great work in the waves with the healing and all that is a huge benefit. But in these boss fights, when you get into these higher levels, it is really hard to keep her alive. I could probably work on getting better gear, but she just doesn't have enough. If she was a support champion that stayed in the back row, I think she'd be far more viable. But because she runs into battle, like she just puts herself in harm's way, and so she ends up dying. So it's kind of tough. I mean, I could try to build her with more HP and more defense, but she just seems like she's a little bit squishy. It's maybe like if Ferulia was running up there to get smacked in the face. Like that's not what she's designed to do. She's designed to heal people. So I don't think she's going to be a good fit to push the team forward. Although in the waves, she does really good work. But it's just in those boss fights, she just doesn't have enough in her. Let's take a peek in here and let's just see what our options are. Going down, we could do a Kubo. I'd be nervous that him as an assassin. Assassins are already really squishy. And so as a rare assassin, I mean, we can give him a shot, but I think we're going to try Herc and then be able to compare that to Zol. And Zol does get the 5% bonus as well. So that is something to keep in mind, where if it's kind of, you know, about the same either way, you might as well go with Zol and get those extra 5% perks. But we're going to go ahead and jump and do Herc. Alright, so I have to bring you back in here. We did have to switch gears a little bit because I didn't have a third set of strength gear to put Herc in. So we had to take Tokton out instead. We are working on that third set so that I will be able to try that composition tomorrow. But unfortunately right now we're 2 pieces shy. Even epic pieces that we're shy to get those in. So tomorrow we'll give the 3 of those guys a shot and see how they do. But we're bringing Zol back in because I think Andronica, being a warrior, not a warrior, she's a support, but running up in the middle of battle, I don't think is going to be very sustainable. So we're going to bring Zol back in, and we're going to run Herc instead of Tokton and see how that goes. Let's take a quick peek at his skills. His first skill is an AoE attack. It's Cleave, and he executes a cleaving attack, dealing 230% of attack as physical damage and applying burn to those hit. Burn deals 50% of attack as magic damage every 2 seconds for 8 seconds. So they're going to get an additional 200% damage over 8 seconds. His passive ability is Cloak of Fire. Herc is cloaked in a burning aura. Healing. That'd be awesome if he's healing. Dealing 60% of attack as magic damage once every second to nearby enemies. So just folks that are near him are going to basically receive extra damage. So he is a warrior. He's going to be up in the front row. Doing damage. It probably would be a benefit to get his level higher, probably up to the 130-ish, and then leave all of these guys back here at 110. But for the time being, let's see him in action and see whether or not he merits actually leveling him up and messing with those scrolls. So we're going to jump in here. We still haven't got to room 23 on expert, so we're going to keep farming expert. Just taking a quick peek at the dispersion of damage here. So Batu's doing a good amount of damage. Zol does do a good amount of damage with his AoE ability. So, I mean, he is actually probably pretty good to have him back on the team. And Herc is, I think, doing pretty well on the warrior front up there with his AoE ability as well and the burning. So that is kind of cool to see. Potentially, it might be worthwhile thinking about taking Yalmar out and maybe swapping him with Tok'tan and see which one of them is actually a better tank. I just assumed Yalmar probably would be doing more damage than Tok'tan, but Tok'tan has that reflection of damage, so his kit's a little bit different. Alright, I don't want to speak too soon because we're only on room like 10 or something like that, but Herc is really doing some damage up here, and he's also tanking up pretty well. Like when he's getting hit and whatnot, he seems to be shrugging it off, and he's only on level 112, so potentially bringing him up to 130 might be a way for him to be a little more powerful in the sense of like just being a tank if he gets a little squishy later on. But typically a warrior is going to be more squishy than our tank here. But you can see, I mean, he's doing some substantial damage. Like even over Batu and Zol, like he took out almost that entire room by himself, which is pretty awesome. So we're gonna keep pressing on here, but I do think that Herc might find his way into our team, because I know in one of them we were really hurting for damage. Like she was healing herself, the boss was healing herself faster than we could kill her, and I think that had we had someone like Herc on the team, I think he would have been able to take out a little more HP and get through her. So. I'm kind of feeling like bringing him and Tok'tan and see how that combination works with these three in the back row. Potentially could have a lot of merit. I was also thinking potentially of bringing Andronica back in and just having her decked out at level 130 and building her straight tanky defense and HP. Because I do really like the lifesteal that she provides. That being said, one thing to keep in mind is when the boss does go into her invincible mode, you're actually not dealing damage to her, so you're not getting any lifesteal. Because lifesteal only works on the damage you deal, and I think it's up to 30% when you have Andronica maxed out. So in that 5 seconds where she's invincible, you won't have any heals except for Ferulia and her other healing ability. But it was kind of something I was thinking about. Might be worth trying, just to see if it pushes us on a little further. But so far this composition is looking pretty healthy. Ferulia does a great job keeping people topped off. She really is a pretty effective healer. If we go back into here, again, Herc is not quite as much as Batu that time. But he is our secondary damage dealer, if not our primary damage dealer, depending on the room. So we'll grab this extra 5% crit rate here. So it's kind of eye-opening. I never really thought he would be that good, which kind of makes me wonder about Akubo, because I just assume he's not good because other assassins are so hard to keep alive. But I very well could be wrong. So we'll try them all out. That's kind of what we're doing here to test, so you don't have to, and you can kind of see the benefits of what each of these characters is doing, and then try to build your team. I think on the back row, Batu and Zol is not a bad combination. They both do a pretty good amount of damage, and then I think a healer is necessary. Ferulia to me is going to be a better choice than Andronica, just because you can build her a little squishier. And her heals are effective enough that she doesn't have to be top level. If you're going to go Andronica, I think that you're pretty much going to have to make sure that she is among the highest levels of your team for her to stay alive. And I would also put her in defense or HP boots, and then a defense or HP accessory, and just try to build her as tanky as possible, because really what you're looking for out of her is just to stay alive, so that you get those lifesteal heals. So we are moving on to room 16 here. I think we're still looking pretty healthy. Batu with his knockback ability. For a while there, I thought Batu was an Imperial because I thought he was kind of a ranger like Drizda. But he's actually a keeper. So when you get that keeper crit rate and crit damage, that's a huge win for Batu. And a lot of the folks on this team, I think 3 of these folks are keepers. So that does help you when you're trying to consolidate. So I kept grabbing this Imperial Decree. I think Toktan might be an Imperial. We had an Imperial on the team, but no more. So we have 1 mage, 10%. That's Zol. So that'll be good to get a little extra damage out of Zol. I always prefer those over the doing explosion damage when you die, because once you get to that point, your run's almost over anyway. So they get a little bit of benefit along the way. 45% shields is a lot. We're kind of getting up there, so I'm going to start skipping curses. I've been stacking up dungeon coins to get to room 17, but over the next 3, I think we can skip 3 curses in a row, moving from here on out. So hopefully that'll do something for us. But I did want to bring you in so you can see Herc in action. I do think that he does a lot of work. After this battle, we'll take a peek at those stats and just see, because this is kind of a longer battle, so we can see how everybody fares and so forth. But this 5 seconds of immunity, she always gets it, and it's just brutal. They do so much work in that 5 seconds, especially when she goes on her little rampage. We're gonna grab that charm. So yeah, Zol came in hot, and then it was Herc, and then it was Batu. So Herc was our secondary damage dealer again. So he is pretty impressive in that space, and so far, even being under leveled, he really hasn't been in danger of dying. So I'm pretty impressed with him. Alright, so we got to room 20 there. She was just getting through us pretty bad. So I think she made it through Yalmar and then quickly through Herc. So I think the move we're going to do here is we're going to get Herc up to level 120, maybe level 130, pulling scrolls off of Zol. And we're going to swap Yalmar for Toktan and then run that group and see how that goes. Alright, so we made it to room 17, 28,000 points. I do feel like the 2 tank solution is a little bit better, although Herc doing the damage he does, it could be 2 tanks up front with Herc in the back instead of Zol, or even maybe instead of Batu. Could be an awesome alternative, but we are going to have to work on that gear. So I'm going to work on getting that other set of gear, and then we will try that again tomorrow. But I think we kind of learned a lot as far as some of the options we have and what's going to work and what's not. So I appreciate you guys hanging out with me and spending the time, and I look forward to seeing you next time.